Kayfabe crew, one and all. Thank you guys so much for supporting Hip Hop Family Tree the way you have been. Had a great signing last night at Phantom of the Attic Comics in Oakland. Sold a bunch of stuff and got a really good reception. For Hip Hop Family Tree, so wanted to just come online. Thank you guys a whole bunch, and what the heck, why not hang out and stream the next strip? Live in effect, you know. Sell the comic that's out there right now, and share with you guys the next stuff, man, because we're doing real things right here. Yeah, I woke up to a ton of messages from you guys who are north of the US border saying that Amazon jacked you and they canceled so many orders, and I'm very, very, very sorry about that. I know that it happened with the Dan Clowes book as well, and I just don't know the ins and outs of how that works. But obviously, the allocation of books that are in the Canadian warehouses, they underordered. So I'm imagining that they'll get a new shipment in from Amazon stateside to fulfill more orders. If you got in early in Canada and you got that very steep discount, I would probably suggest to just hang tight so that you can still benefit from that big discount, you know, assuming that they're going to get a new stock in. But obviously, if you're impatient, man, go get it, because it's not like a reprint is going to be available by Christmas. So if the intention is to have a present for somebody, you know, it might behoove you to get it sooner than later. Another part of this stream is that we got some new technology, and I have these lapel mics that I'm trying out right now. I do have a feeling that you're going to hear every fucking swallow from my tea. So I'm very sorry about that. I just kind of realized that part of it. But I wanted to test them out and see how they run. Working on kind of a complicated strip here, just in terms of pencil mileage. It's going to be a lot of heads. It's a school assembly in the gymnasium, so there's a lot of kids that need to get drawn. The cool thing is that you could really lean heavy into the cartooning, because so many of these kids don't need to be seen after these drawings, so you could have a lot of fun with the cartooning and just kind of make up ghastly faces. We'll surely have to do some Keith Giffen coverage. Several periods of Keith Giffen exist, right? like I have a couple of his Defenders where he goes full Kirby. It's funny, like I was just using, this is my lettering nib, my lettering pen, and what I do is, might be hard to tell, it might be very easy to tell, but I just jab down real hard on the scrap paper to make it even more blunt. See that right there? Just make it super, super blunt of a line so that it's more thick. Here's another example. Just push down as hard as I fucking can because I need it to be bolder than even the 1 gives me, the 1.0 Copic. All right, let me get situated here. Let's jump into things. All right, let's get started. Yeah, this page, like I said, is reasonably complicated. It's going to have a lot of characters, especially when I get to this panel. And I felt like doing a stream would make the time go by a little faster. You know, it's that accountability thing. You know, stay off the phone. Stay drawn. What's happened in the strip so far is that a couple schmuck kids, bullies, they got murdered, and they got torn apart, and it has been discovered that the piles of DNA, the piles of flesh that were found at Widow's Peak do belong to these boys, and they're little scumbags. The whole school's mourning, but our girls are not phonies. And they have a friend who's missing. They're kind of wondering, how come our missing friend didn't get a whole school assembly? I think when you're a kid in elementary school, it takes a couple of years, but you start to learn about social hierarchy. I think one of the places that you learn it too, if you were in a school like mine, was the lunchroom. Kids would get robbed too much, so they would have lunch tickets, and they would have several different sets of lunch tickets, and just by looking at the color of the lunch ticket, you could tell if a kid was a poor kid or not. It was pink, green, and blue. And if a kid pulled out the pink ticket when it was time to cash out, that meant that his parents or her parents are broke as fuck, didn't have any money, and they don't have to pay for school lunch. And it would be such an embarrassment to them. Like, there were a year or two, like, me and my brother, we had to have that. And it would be super humiliating and shit. So these girls in my strip, they represent every sort of emotion, every sort of economic stratum, every kind of intelligence level. There's five main characters, and you could explore every range of everything with them. This is strip maybe 94. So we're cooking. So what I like to do is just playing with markers with this strip, for one thing. And I like to use the boulder marker for the kind of outlines, and then go in, and the boldest one that I use is a 1.0. Then I go in with a 0.5 for the details. But as you could tell, like, let's see, don't do the tightest pencils. I use Procreate to give myself perspective guides to have the picture plane make sense. And then just go in with the pen, try to capture some of that rawness of just doing, full drawing in ink. I feel a little bit of freedom to do that because I'm working in a more cartoony style here. So if you guys watch the Sergio Aragones shoot interview, where he's like, listen, I can make the fingers look like sausages because it's cartoons. That idea appealed to me. It's something I've been chasing for a while, to kind of like loosen up the style, not be as stiff, not be as rigid, have some fun. And the Switchblade Shorties is that for me. I hope you guys support that comic when I start to release them. I'll do streams more often, especially now that the hip hop book is out to sell. I really want you guys to add that book to your library. For people in the US, I have an Amazon link pinned to the top of this chat. But obviously, if you have a good comic shop in town, support them. And just like my Canadian brethren who got their order canceled, there are Canadian stores that have the comic. Beguiling probably has the comic. Strange Adventures Nova Scotia has it. They may or may not have some sort of web presence. Rob, where did you get the comic from? There you go, Indigo. I'm not sure if that was online, but there are definitely places to get it. Just not Amazon at the moment. I would say Amazon needs to get their shit together and quit lowballing the Fantagraphics guys, because, like I said, that same thing happened with Dan Klaus with Monica. for now. West Coast Avengers asks, I can't remember, are you going to go full color with these? And the answer is no, because that just cuts into the time. The schedule's going to change on Kayfabe. I was being pretty accommodating with Jimmy's daylight hours. But in order for me to do this strip, I need to get a strip done today, and I'm not going to call my day early until I get my strips done. But they do take a while. So to add color to like a Sunday, just don't think it's going to be possible. That said, I'm doing these up in individual episodes, so like 20 strip episodes. And I might play with other methods and materials for various episodes. So maybe I'll do a color sequence. Also, it might behoove me to get a flatter. Like if I had a flatter, I think I would be able to do color a little bit more. But I sort of realized that there's just no way that you're able to have a real successful kind of comic career doing a 9 to 5 square schedule. So I'm just going to have to get back to pulling late hours when needs be and stuff like that. Try to stream as much of this as possible also. Do-doon, 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 do-doon. I'm going to be kind of eager to play this stream back and see how this microphone sounds, because I updated my technology over the past week. Needed a new phone. Wanted to get some new stuff before Japan. You know, get a phone that has good battery life, yada yada. And now the iPhones and stuff are VHS-C, USB-C. So the microphones that Jimmy and I have been using all these years, there's no port for it. So I had to get some new microphones. Okay, so I'm going to put the kids that are back here in a more soft focus, so I'll use a skinnier line for that. And then once again, you could just kind of play. Don't need to be too precious. They're sad kids, so I do have to think about that part. there's that age where we lose our baby teeth and then get those big ass honking adult teeth coming in when you still have a tiny ass head. That's the age these kids are. Research for the strip. That's a good question that I will answer later. Like, I'm gonna make a big video introducing Switchblade shorties, and I will put a pin in that, answer it at that time, because there were a lot of Red Room copycats when I started this stuff early, and I just want to make a good announcement when there's something really, really substantial for you guys to check out and read. Because I've been seeing the copycats even trying to rewrite history and say that they came earlier and stuff, and it's like, nah, motherfuckers, I was doing these streams in like 2019, showing off Red Room and talking about it before there was like tangible books and stuff. But if you follow the strip on my Patreon and stuff, it'll be pretty obvious what some of the influences are. I'm so glad my face is not on cam, because I'm like making these emotive crybaby faces to try to understand these expressions that these characters are given. And once again, with these background characters, you could just kind of like whatever. James Easterly shouts, man. James Easterly won CXC as far as I'm concerned, because he got his Dan Klaus Monica books signed with the Read More Comics shirt on. Right here, I'll just put like a little nose and a little sad mouth. What is the new Burns book? Cycle Cleveland? I know there's something due next summer. And I was just talking to him last weekend, actually, about doing a shoot interview. He wants to wait till we have something substantial. Let me try to find some 1990s hairstyles. Okay. Something like this. Seem to remember some pulled back shits like that for sure. Let's see. Give little dude a little high top fade or something. Or no, how about the mushroom that the boys used to seem to have? Yeah, something like that. The life out here, dude. Yeah, sorry if you hear an intermittent kind of motor sound. That sounds like a heater or a air conditioner. But I got an air purifier because I put up a spinner rack, and what I put on that spinner rack was a box full of coverless, very old comics that I bought for like $50, and they smell old, man. Like my studio smells like a damn old used bookstore. But I like it because if I look over to the left of me and I just see tons of weird shit that I just never read before. And whenever I get a minute or when it's time for me to kind of powder out, I'll just grab some random shit and, read a comic. Something super, super random. All right, man, let's bring this panel to life. me send a text real quick. Michael Smith, thinking your first comic. Congratulations. Welcome to the game. The game is fun. I'll tell you something. Doing this like the daily, like a daily serialized adventure strip is so freaking fun, because what you're doing is you're building a world one strip at a time with kind of very little safety net, and you do 75, 80 of them. You got enough bits that you could continue to build on and make new stories out of, and then you keep sewing more bits in. It's a really, really, really fun kind of compulsive cartooning exercise. I'm using the Copic multi-liners. I moved from microns to these after my first trip to Japan. The black ink is better. It's blacker. It feels better on the paper. You kind of have to give it a shot to know what I'm saying, man. But it's like a hot knife through butter on the paper. There's some drawbacks. The ink doesn't dry immediately, so you run the risk of doing some smudging, which I do often. That is the opposite of ideal. All right, so these are our main characters. You want to put a little bit more care into them for sure. Yeah, man, Nate Garcia is so dope, and he's got the spirit. Like, he's a lifer. He's in the game for good. I don't know Josh's work that well, so I can't speak on him whatsoever. But Nate Garcia, I got my eyes on that dude for sure. He's doing really, really good stuff, and he's deep. Like, he knows the deal. It's not some fair weather shit with that kid. A lot of bad dentistry here in Still Valley. Now what's happening here is you just kind of want to try to evenly distribute the black spaces all over the place. Yeah, dudes, today's Hip Hop Family Tree orders are out for delivery if you got them from Amazon. If you get one in real time while we're streaming, holler in the comments. And thank you guys so much for supporting these comics. Jimafu, shouts, man. Shouts and respects. Gotta get you back on the channel sooner than later, my man. Certainly when your secret projects are announced to the world. I don't know if you announced any of that stuff at New York, but we'll leave it at that for now. Recipes to the 45 King. The 900 number, one of the classics. Can't do the Ed Lover dance without it. This one's nickname is Soda Pop, and she's a little Spitfire. This one's called Foster. Foster Lambert. Rest in peace, Suzanne Summers. Some of you get that reference. And Foster's the girliest of the girls. Very emotive, very emotional, empathetic, but also her dad's the mayor of the town, so she gets away with murder. Hey Funkle, thanks for the super chat. Give her a striped shirt to create a gray value on the page. Oh, Funko, it's the first super chat you ever gave as well. Thank you so much. That gets extra props. This character is called Pinky. She doesn't put up with any nonsense, man. She suffers no fools. Once I start releasing the strips, every time I have a week's worth, I'll do a reading on the channel and kind of show the panels off. Put some episodes together that way. I'm going to distribute all the strips by way of the Kayfabe social media, the my own Ed Piscor account, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. Maybe get like Line Webtoon, set that up. The Substack. You know, just hit all vectors. Thoughts on crowdfunding a print version, physical version? No, not right, not anytime soon. That crowdfund stuff and like hand selling comics is not for me right now. Like, I got a pretty good career going, so I'm not gonna really take too much time right now out of my creative work to like pack envelopes and stuff. The industry of comics is working for me, so while it still is here, man, I'm gonna continue to use it. It's been very good to me for the past 10 years, so we'll keep parlaying it until it goes away. But when it does, then I have no problems getting back to it. But I'm sort of populist in my mindset when it comes to these comics, and I want there to be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of copies of these accessible in very, very easy ways. So don't want to wrap my head around stretch goals and all of that kind of shit. I'm actually in talks with some people about the shorties as we speak, actually. Should probably hear next week. Got that one panel done reasonably quick. A little under an hour, not bad. Where are you guys hanging out from? I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as you may or may not have known. Always fun to hear where you guys are coming out of. Wide reach. What's this? What's the that yellow bastard slipcase? What is that? Is that got some extras in it? Got our little school principal here. Her name is Mrs. Hyde. In elementary school, we had a principal named Mrs. Hyde. And in terms of the reputation, the name was perfect. But she was actually quite sweet. But that's also because I was never in trouble. Got the runny boogers. A very solemn day at the school when you get Miss Hyde to emote. Going way over the top with it, of course. Because listen, we're having fun here. Did you guys get a chance to see that crazy video today, man? That Isisagawa cannibal manga. Crazy shit. You know what else is kind of crazy? I didn't mention it on the video, but I mentioned it on previous videos when we went to that festival called Comitia. And there was the first one that I went to, there were no less than 3 ladies that made mangas about cannibalizing their lovers, and like one of them was called so I ate my boyfriend, which they say they have comics about everything out there. Silly me, I didn't consider that genre. But I've been sitting on that comic a while, and I was thinking, like, it's stupid to have that and not fucking do a video, especially with some of that fucking other shit that we talked about. So you ain't going to get another one of those kind of manga out there. So it's the perfect kind of thing to put on the Kayfabes. You know, you want to be reasonably responsible and not praise, you know, some sick fuck's art or whatever. But you also don't have to be a hemophiliac puss about shit and can make vids about the weirder, darker shit out there. It's definitely at a point now where, like, it's time to embrace the differences between me and Jimmy on the channel, for sure. Eat your lovers. It's got to have some of them geriatric marks all over. Got a very dulled, blunt .8 that I use for bolder pieces. She's the kind of grandma character that would have those like itchy sweaters that are like pure wool. You gotta give her that gimmick. You just do this, put these like little hair textures, and you just know what that fabric feels like. Maybe I'll do it just... I was maybe gonna make the background of this one black. And I still will give myself that option, but I'll do just this little tapered effect for now and see what that looks like when the page is more or less complete. And if it makes sense to balance the panel with more black, then I'll just go black with the background. Alright, that'll be that one. Tall Matt, thank you for that info, man. Breaking news. Batman Year One Artist Edition up for pre-order on Amazon, July 2, 2024. Guess what I'm about to do? Artist Edition. There it is. Boom. Pre-order now. Place my order. Boom. There it is. Good looks, Tall Matt. Just kayfabe affected me. All right. Do-doon, 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 do-doon. I always like that move where you add a little 3D to the cartoony tears, so that it's part of the tear or the drool that faces away from the light. You just make it a little bolder, man, and it really adds a nice little touch. Blackheads on the nose. I learned that from Tezuka. That's something that he would build into his art. Usually on his self-portraits, the big old black pores. I've been we got some big kayfabe homework lately. So what happens is I got to get my ass caught up on that, and then I get to indulge. But I've been messing with Grendel. Been reinterested in Grendel after talking with Uncle Matt Wagner. But also those daily strips, man. I got a ton of three big magazine racks full of like the to read pile, the to read stacks. So just grab something from there. Buzz Sawyer, Dick Tracy, Terry and the Pirates, Popeye comics, Prince Valiant for the Sunday Love. There's going to be a background there, but I don't know what it is. It'll be like a gymnasium, maybe doors or the pads that are on the wall. Yeah, I'm super stoked for Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones also. Congrats to those guys. And it'll be fun to see how that develops for them. Where was I? Okay. Yeah, we're going super melodramatic here. Since it's the most wonderful time of the year, being Halloween, I feel like I should watch Candyman. I'm in the mood to see Candyman and Hellraiser again. I kind of watch those every year when it starts to get chilly. Good fall movies. No, these are like the school portraits or whatever of these little boys. And of course, they're hooligans and they're terrible to our main girls. So the joke is you got to make them super wholesome in their portraits. And if you go on my Instagram, you'll see exactly what happened with these little hooligans. Do-doon, 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 do-doon. While I'm working, I'm listening to the First Blood audiobook again. Dave Morrell, Rambo. It's a favorite of mine. It's so lean. It's constructed so well, and it's kind of two stories in one. It's the point of view of the chief and the pursuers, the cops and stuff. And when it's their point of view, it's a horror story, and they're on the hunt for Freddy Krueger. Basically, they can't find him, they can't see him, and he's the second they lift their heads over the thickets, their brains get blown out by a stalking ex-Green Beret. And then when it's Rambo's point of view, it's a it's a race, it's a escape story. So it's really, really, really well handled, and read it twice before, listened to it twice before, but it's just one of those stories. Like I revisit the same stuff over and over again sometimes. Well, not over and over again, but what I'm saying is I've listened to it before and I'm giving it another shot. It's kind of cool to revisit after some years, and you just kind of like learn different stuff. You could see a little bit more. These big printouts are like, Maoist propaganda photos, Kim Jong-il pictures of these boys. Take those lines off the face and de-age them a little bit. Tell Matt, I hear you about the narrator being tough. I don't know what it is, man, but lately, like, stuff has just been grating on my ears, and unfortunately, I had to put down that Tarantino audiobook, because like Jennifer Jason Leigh gets fucking super screechy, and like, what do you call that shit, man? That vocal fry built into it, and it got to be too much. It got to be too much for me. It was real good when she was that character in Hateful Eight, but not when you're reading those stories to me for 13 hours. Rob McCollum, the It audiobook. I actually like that audiobook a lot. The one that I listened to, I mean, I guess they're probably all, there's maybe not two, but it's that guy from Wings. who was that actor dude, and I thought he was pretty good as the narrator for for it. The one problem with it is that I rent the upstairs part of this place, part of the studio, and it's a nice young lady who lives up there, and I'm down here. I got the Bose fucking speakers, and it seemed like every time she walked in the door, you could hear the front door open as she goes up the stairs, and it would be at a part in the audiobook where it's Pennywise talking about, "Come here, you little cunt, suck my cock, you cunt, blah blah blah, cunt, twat, blah blah blah, you piece of shit, whore, blah blah blah," and just like shouting that shit. And I'm just like, oh, what does this girl think is happening down here? I am tripping. Got a damn floating microphone. I want to say it's Steven Weber. It's the dude that played the executive in Studio 60. He was the It audiobook guy that I have, at least. I'm not sure if that's the same one for you, Rob. I was listening to The Stand, and I still got that kind of queued up, but each chunk of that is like a good episode of something. And, it's very long, like it's these half-hour parts. So I can pick that up as I choose. But when I was doing X-Men, I'll fix that in a bit. When I was doing X-Men, I went through every single Stephen King audiobook in a row, in order. And then there's stuff that I would revisit for more times, like On Writing and Dance Macabre. I like those a lot. Sissy Spacek reads Carrie. And and I also have Sissy Spacek read To Kill a Mockingbird also. So I I like to imagine that you read To Kill a Mockingbird first and then Carrie afterwards, and it's like that Scout's teenage years. Let's see here. Could go a couple different ways with this. Yeah, fuck it, man. Let's try it. In the worst case scenario, I'll just redraw this panel. Oh wait, I'll save that part. Might be graphic, so we'll just leave that stuff white. Yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is so good. Read that one. Well, listened to that one last year. In a little bit, I'll probably get back to my John Rambo. But I wanted to check in with you guys and just thank you guys and give you a little update on that Canadian Hip Hop Family Tree omnibus. I'm not privy to all the information in the world, but I do think if you ordered early and your stuff was canceled, if you just hold tight, you'll be locked in at that discount, and all will be right. It's just going to be delayed a little bit for you, unfortunately. But it's Amazon's fault, man. They lowballed us. Like I said, same thing happened to Klaus. I had lots of Canadian buds hit me up talking about how their shit got canceled. It's pretty weak. We need to get Amazon Canada on the ball. Let them know that you guys are some literate motherfuckers and that you like cool comics. Somebody was posting stories of my Hip Hop Family Tree stuff with white lines as the soundtrack, and I can't get it out of my head now. I promise you it would be far worse if I was not streaming. I'm being reasonably shy right now. It'd be some carpool karaoke type shit. Oh man, tell me about it. I got my cases right literally at the front door because I just have no place to put my inventory at this point. I was gonna I have the perspective guides set up for the background of this panel, but it's kind of occurring to me that it'd be kind of funny to just drop out the background, like make it pure black in her moment of prayer, like just like a spotlight is turned on her or something. It's kind of silly, but I like that. Plus I like the shadow there, so fuck it, man. Let's call that audible. Do-doon, 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 bass. And then it will be, so it's the close-ups, we establish the background, really, the setting with this panel, and it becomes very, very clear, what it is, who she's talking to. And then the strip that I wrote and roughed out today, this morning, before putting up the stream, is our girls, the shorties, are being questioned by the cops because they were the last people to be seen with these boys. So then you get to see a panel with how each girl responds to the interrogation. I like to do that as much as possible to just kind of like give you little glimpses of their personalities. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Yeah, going with this black background, I think is the way to go because it kind of feels like a vacuum. It feels very, very closed in. And then when you get to that panel, you'll see it's opened up. And the fact that she's asking for a moment of silence, and then like, this is what you get for that moment of silence. That's funny to me. You know, it's all yucks. I'm just having fun here. I'll be your Bob Ross, your own happy little comic strips. It's your own world. You can do what you want with it. If you want to have moments of silence while a bunch of elementary school kids are crying all over the place, well, God damn it, that's the way to go. I think old Mrs. Hyde, her hair like this, man, it reminds me of whenever they would do those flashback sequences in Preacher comics and you would see young Tulip, how she would have kind of a mushroom head. That 90s mushroom head haircut that everybody's moms had. Not bad, not bad. Making good progress, making good time. Man, that pen is toast. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. Give it that nice, give it a nice gradient background, like those classic school photos. And then I'm going to give some value to it, some cross hatching after I do the initial hatch marks. And then I'm going to try to, just got this idea. I'm going to use this whiteout gel pen to try to run run it through the background and give like those lasers that would be in school photos. I think I can accomplish that analog rather than play with it digitally. We'll see. Let me do another round of hatching on there. Jeremy, you called it. All right. Let me just got a fresh one. I want to make sure that the line. Okay, yeah, the lines are good on that. These things run out and die really fast. Well, let me take a look. See, the problem is we always think we know what shit looks like. So, school photo, laser, background. Look at these shits, man. See, this is weak. I've never seen one that looked like that. That feels more legit. Cool. Let's see. Might be a little too subtle. These gel pens are stupid. I want it to be kind of thick anyhow, so. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Something like that. Fuck it. Let's give this little fella, oops, that was a thicker pen than I wanted. Let's give him his gray value background. Do that same laser technique on this photo as well. Just wanted to break up the shapes, you know, like there was just too much white space behind them, so this was a must. With this guy, I might actually do another round of hatching. Make those lasers pop more, that's for sure. That's because there's so much space, like you don't see the, like you see like a smooth gradient there. It's not so smooth here, so one more round of hatching will get us there. Yeah, that one shows up a little better for sure. Let me make exactly sure. I think I'm gonna work on this one while listening to some audiobooks or something. It's getting to be about lunchtime. Let me make sure. Let's see. Yeah, strip 94. So, in grand daily strip fashion, you gotta sign each one. Today's date 10/19/23. Strip 94. Because there's no doubt I'll finish that one today and then get started on the next. Maybe get a nice chunk of the next inked up today. We'll see. We're going hardcore these days, that's for sure. Investing every second into this bitch. You know, I like daily strips. So make the things that you like if it doesn't exist and it's not out there. And all you got to do is be right. And if I am right, you can rest assured there's going to be lots of followers. And if you make good ones, I encourage it. So thank you guys. Once again, here's the link for the Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus on American Amazon. Many apologies that the Canadian version is down right now, like that it's all sold out. But the first order of business is always to go to your local comic shop. Anyhow, so go do that. Beguiling, Strange Adventures, whatever your comic shop of choice is up there in Canada. Same thing with people in the States, man. Support your local comic shop. Let's keep them thriving. But if you need that convenience, you can't get out to the shop, these things are selling. So Amazon is the way to go. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you for joining me while I test out this new microphone equipment. And